Hi everyone, I'm Saleha and this is Chai Chat and Community. Tonight we are chatting about children going back to school. With schools having opened just over a week ago, how are you faring? Are you worried like most parents? We will discuss one stage at a time from kinder, primary, and secondary. And joining me tonight to start the first episode of 2023 is Dr. Raj Khillan, a very well known pediatrician and the Victorian Australian of the Year. But before we start our conversation, I would like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land on which we are meeting tonight, and I pay my respects to the elders past, present, and emerging. Raj, thank you as always for being there and starting the year with you. Thank you for joining.
Thank you, Saleha. It's always my pleasure to connect with the community.
Thank you. Um, Raj, it's been a week since children have gone back to school, whether it's childcare, kinder, primary, or secondary. And this is a stressful time, both for parents, I think more for parents than for children. And I also read on ABC last week that children don't want to go back to school after the pandemic. So, can we discuss each stage at a time?
Yep, no problem.
Okay. So the first question I am always, because I came in when my girls went to primary and secondary school, so I didn't go through childcare. So and kinder. So what is the right age for a child to go to childcare?
Look, there is a no, I would say, a right or wrong age for childcare. It all depends upon the family circumstances. The family circumstances, like means whether the baby is being breastfed or being in bottle fed, how much the social connection, support, family support you have, and how much is the extra caring burden you have on yourself or other toddler in the family or other children in the family. So and then of course it depends upon the financial affordability, which is another important thing. We know that childcare are generally very expensive, and
But
it may
isn't
not be.
childcare free in Victoria now?
Not childcare. It's a 3 year and 4 year old kinder going to be free,
Kinder.
but not the
Okay.
childcare is going to be free. So they are quite expensive, and it may not be everybody's affordability range. And keeping into that all the factor into consideration, for someone it may be, the baby can go to childcare at 3 months of age, and for someone it may be 6 months, and someone for be 1 year of age. It's always keeping in mind that whenever your child is going to childcare, there would be certain issues always arising. That is the emotional sort of a outburst always come from both side, mother side and from the child side. Everybody is getting emotional, leaving the child alone, and on the other side, in the child side particularly, if they reach to the age of 9 months plus, there's a stage of where the child start recognizing the difference between parents versus outside parents, and sort of a stranger anxiety start. So that adjustment is going to be difficult, but generally it's a temporary thing, and we need to control our emotions and start sending the child to childcare if we can financially afford, because childcare is not only is a I would say a dumping place where is a child is being cared. It is a place where child learns a lot. Learning it is in form of social exposure, learning teamwork, learning how to behave in different circumstances, how to work as a team, and also at the same time learning physical development of the child, playing in a sandpit and outdoor games, and at the same time, and also learning the educational aspect of the toys and making its relevance to the real life. And that is the most important part I would like to emphasize for every family. The problem comes in my practice, what I see is the children from the subcontinent families, like, like Indian subcontinent. We are very emotionally attached with the children. I mean, every mother is emotionally attached, there's no doubt. But culturally and traditionally, we are too much attached with the children, and we keep our children always with us. And in back home, by the time when we were there wasn't a very prevalent concept of childcare back in India. So
Yeah.
children were being looked after by the extended family, grandparents and uncles and aunties, or maybe very good neighbors where you have the good relationship. So that become a sort of a emotional impact on parents, and it become a little bit difficult for them to accept that childcare can be a good place for them. And that's where, as a subcontinent family point of view, I would like to give the message that we need to leave this part behind and look into the wider importance of sending children to childcare. It is not only the care of the child, it is a more important, the holistic development of the child is important, and needing a overall social exposure is the most important thing.
Thank you. So we'll go to kinder because lots of children would have gone from childcare to kinder. What should parents be aware of, and how should we prepare our children?
I would say kinder and childcare is almost the same aspect. If the child is already going to childcare and now just transitioning to kinder, 3 year kinder, 4 year kinder, and some of the childcare, not some, majority of the childcare, 3 year and 4 year kinder is integrated into that educational part
Yep.
of the childcare, then it is easy. It's just a transition from one upgrade of one room to another room. So from baby room to toddler room, and toddler room to bigger toddler room. So that transition in the same child care with the little bit different carer, and it is safe. So it's very easy. Difficulty is for the children those who are going to kinder first time. They never went to childcare because of any reasons that grandparents were looking after, or financial affordability was not there, or maybe some of the parents are so much worried because they got frustrated when the child is in going to childcare, catching infections and cold and hand, foot, mouth disease and diarrheas and skin rashes, and they have to take off from the work and they get frustrated. And then eventually, I see in my clinic some parents they say, "Give up. I'm not going to send my child to the childcare because it's very frustrating for us." For that type of all those who are never gone to childcare, it is a like you are starting, your child is going to childcare first time. So same the separation anxiety would be there. Same the social anxiety would be there. So at this time, it is very important to prepare these children before going to kinder and going to the transition phase once and twice, talking to other families or children on the families, those who are going to the same child care, so they can meet them in advance before having a play date for them, and so that these children are having some familiar faces in kinder, so they are not feeling apprehensive in that way. And this, I think, this is the most important aspect. I would say preparing these children and reducing the anxiety for them, talking through them few weeks before, like, you have become a big boy or big girl now, you are going to kinder, which is a good fun sort of activity. Important thing to make sure who is going to drop your child here and who is going to pick and what time to pick. Tell their children very clearly, either mommy or daddy is dropping you, or daddy is going to pick you. This is the place where I'll pick you over there. So child is not getting overly anxious
Yeah.
and nervous or waiting for parents to and looking at the door all the time when my parents will come and pick me. Making sure if your child is not toilet trained, to work on toilet training before sending to kinder. So child is well toilet trained before that, so it's not putting an extra burden on the staff, and it's causing not an extra anxiety to the child also. So both way, that degree of preparation needs to be there. Other most important thing, particularly which I want to give a message to our subcontinent family, is keeping your eating of the child. Because the problem in our culture is that we keep feeding our children rather than giving them independence to feed themselves. So we are not encouraging them to feed themselves and a dining table. Oh, otherwise my child will take half an hour or 1 hour to finish the lunch and dinner. If I feed, it finishes very quickly. So that's the best way. So if we keep on feeding the child breakfast, lunch, and dinner, how do we expect that a child will have lunch in kinder or childcare alone?
That's very
So
important.
that's
Yes.
a very, very important part in our subculture where we need to prepare the children to start eating them. And they will not eat themselves unless until we as a parent give them in that degree of independence and work on that you need to feed yourself. Make the child sitting with you in a dining table and a small child on a high chair, big child on a chair with you, eating the same food, what food you are eating, and giving almost the same time and encouraging the child to eat the food which he can eat by using either his hand or her hand or by spoon
A
or
spoon.
knife and fork. Like a Indian gravies, is generally is a very tricky for small children to take and a roti and gravy. So we need to modify the things for
Yes.
their age so they can eat within that time. So
And
I
it is
would
okay for children to take time, isn't it?
look, taking time is not a problem. Problem is what I feel is our own impatience. Oh, if I leave with my child, she will make a mess around, and then I have to spend 1 hour to clean the mess. Or after, if I will finish the dinner, I can finish so many other things. If I will feed the child, that's where the problems start, and then the child become dependent on you, and will say, "Okay, I'm watching on a screen, and then you keep feeding me. Otherwise, I'm not going to feed. I'm not going to eat now." So that sort of a culture we need to change. And if we can change on a timely manner and before going to school, or before going to kinder, or even before we're sending the child to childcare, depending upon what age we are sending, and that is going to be important. Other message I would also like to give here for particularly our Indian subcontinent perspective, and preparing your child not only to eat our own cultural food, but also the food what the child will get in childcare. Because then most of the childcare will provide the food themselves, breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks, according to the childcare policy. And they don't allow any food to be carried from outside or dropped from outside. So no cultural food unless until it is medically indicated,
Yeah.
because written prescription or by advised by the pediatrician. So if we don't prepare that child to eat that food at home, who has never gone to childcare, how the child is going to eat pasta first time in childcare? How is he going to eat noodles in a childcare first time? So giving them that degree of exposure is important, and that's our responsibility in terms of preparing our children for the childcare and also for the kinder.
Thank you. Um, Primary school, which is the big school for many, many 6 years old. Um, how do we prepare a child? Because, from a group, because friends are different, it's a totally new scenario for them. And it can be very scary.
Yeah. Look, first message I would like to say, look, it's a very emotional day for everybody, every parents, and even I remember even when I dropped my daughter a few years ago, first time in prep, first day of the school, we were all, me and my wife, we were both emotional. We were crying. And I'm sure not only me, many parents would be going to the same stage of emotions. And that emotion is one thing, but underlying anxiety is other thing, what I say. And that's where showing emotion is not a bad thing, but showing anxiety for the child is a bad thing. If you become anxious and nervous, what's going to happen? How my child is going to adjust over there? Child will read this anxiety from your face, your gesture, your body language, and will transfer to the child. And that's where the child will also start getting anxious and nervous. So first thing, you need to calm down yourself as a parent, and and as I said, showing emotion is not a bad thing, but showing anxiety is a bad thing. And that if we control, anxiety would be less. Second thing I would like to say, again, preparing your child for the school, you know, and the preparation generally start few weeks or few months before going to the school. Like, most of the school give a transition phase of a 1 or 2 or 3 days of transition, where the child is going for few maybe 2 hours, then half day or maybe full day, and spending some time over there and with the teacher, with the children, and getting used to the school environment. And that is the one important thing, where making the child used to the environment. Make sure, as we talked about the with the kinder and child, and the child who's still having separation anxiety, so we definitely need to work on that separation anxiety much more before earlier. We need to work on that, can the child feed himself or herself, because in a lunchtime nobody is going to feed your child there. Recess time, nobody is going to feed your child over there. And 99% of the parents in primary school, I see, oh, my child never eat in school anything, whole lunchbox come back. And majority of the time, particularly in the Indian subculture continent, we never prepare them before going to the school. Now the time is coming, 6 months, now need to start eating yourself. We need to start preparing the child for a year before, how to start organizing your thing, how to look after yourself, when understanding the need of your body or natural needs of your body, when to go to the toilet for wee and poo. This is the age where children, they don't know, they don't understand, or they don't read this body signal, they can have an accident in school. And that can have a detrimental impact on their self-confidence and self-image. And they get more anxious and nervous, and parents get anxious and nervous. They start thinking that it may be underlying at some medical issues rather than the behavioral issues which could have been sorted by preparation. So preparing the child, reading the signal, going to the toilet, asking for help, raising your hand and asking for help. That when you need to ask the teacher, can I go to the toilet? Most of the children, because they are so new in the school, they're hesitant, nervous, they don't go to they don't dare to ask that to go to the toilet. Then it comes to meeting again, as I said, meeting other families and children, those who go to the toilet, sorry, those who are going to this same school, before going to the school. So child is feeling confident that, yeah, I have couple of people who I know and friend who they can play during recess and lunchtime. Make sure your child health before going to school, what we causes a health checkup before school, is ready. Like your immunization is up to date, child's hearing test or the eye test has been done and is not going through any of these issues. And if there's issues that can be sorted out, if the child can't see the blackboard because of the vision, then is going to miss out a lot of things. Other thing, important thing is developing on little bit of a independence of your child, like how to dress yourself, putting an extra, I would say, always undergarment for your child. A school bag is always a good idea. In case the accident happen, the teacher can help you over there and changing the clothes. So these are the few things, medical perspective, I would like to say, preparation of the child before going to the school. Then, of course, during the school, when the child on gone to the school, generally schools give a buddy system, like there is a one buddy is with your
Yep.
child and who is helping you in the school during the whole school process till the child is confident. But once the school started, it is important, again I mentioned there, talk to the school, to your child in very in detail, what is going to be expected in the school, not giving a big lecture, very small, simple things to be explained. Where I'm going to drop you, where I'm going to pick you, if mommy or daddy get late, what is the backup plan? If the child is going to after school or before school care, who is going to take over before and after school care? Where is the library in the school? All that things, basic thing of daily life need to be spoken to the child, not only once or two, many times. Many times. Same thing at home, you talk about these things in many times. Talk to the child about the organizations of the day. Like, because school is very structured. Normally, if the child is going to school first time, who has never gone to any childcare or maybe even kinder, and that child has never gone through the structure of life during at home, because there's a sleep time, there's a wake up time, there's a brush time. So all that is a lunch time, dinner time, so a recess time in school. There's all is a limited time it happens. So child need to follow. There's a structure, not when I'm hungry I'll eat. When I want to go to the toilet, when I can go anytime. So try to make the best use of recess time, lunch time, and in between this. Of course, when you want help, you can raise your hand and help, but try to make use of this help, this time in best way. When the child is coming home, asking the child in detail, how did you go? Who did you play with? Asking the child, generally we say there's a two type of questions we ask. One is open-ended question where the answer is yes, sorry, the a close-ended question where the answer is yes or no. Did you play in the childcare? Yes. Did you eat your lunchbox? Yes. And were you happy? No. So the other thing is open-ended questions where they're asking the child, giving the opportunity to expand the answer. Okay. First question is, who did you play with today? Who did you hang around with today? Then what did you do together? Now the child has to second question has to answer more in detail.
Yep.
What did he do? Did he play with anything, any sports, any what recess time activities being done? So giving the child maybe one or two close-ended questions, but giving more open-ended questions so the child will be able to explain himself or herself more in detail. And in between, then you can read some cues. Is the child is happy or is the child is not happy in school? And what changes can be done to make the child happy and more accommodated in school?
Thank you. How do you how do you encourage children to make friends?
It's a look. There is a no, a I would say a mantra for that to make friends. Making friends, it depends upon how confident you are, how much exposure you have in your life in before going to school, or how much exposure parents have given, and the family environment also. Kids are our mirror image; they learn. If the parents are very reserved type, what we call the introvert type, they don't talk much, they don't socialize much. So we can't expect that child to be over friendly within first day in the school and start making many friends. That child is going to take a very very long time. So for these type of children and family, my always message goes: first try to make change in yourself if you want to see a change in your child. So you need to make friends. You need to invite few people in your house. You need to go to if somebody invite you to go to that invitation, accept that invitation. And similar thing you can do for your child. Child will not go and make friends. You may need to make a play date for your pretend for with your friends or expected friends, either in your community or outside the community or in your neighborhood. So first you invite them, these children, maybe four, five, two, three. They can have a 3 hour, 4 hour play. They know each other together. Then it would be expected that other family will also reciprocate for you. And that's how children will get separation from you, lessen the separation anxiety, and will likely to make friends with other children. The friendship comes from little confidences of life. And that's the way the process is. I would suggest there is a no one day change of mantra where you can start making friends.
Um, for slightly older kids, and this is a big thing. We don't talk about it a lot, but bullying. How do you stop bullying and make children aware of bullying? Not to be a bully and not to be bullied, both of them.
Look, it's a both way. That is a very sensitive topic, and unfortunately, we talk every day, and still bullying is prevalent
Very
in
much.
in every school and in every age. More, it is more in a late primary to middle school and high school.
Yeah.
Generally, in a primary school, prep one, two, three, kids are very innocent, and they can't discriminate, or they don't have that much, you can say, executive functions of discrimination on based on various things. And then once you start going into the late primary school, where, as we say, the child is born as innocent, can't discriminate on anything. It's the society which teaches you how to start discriminating and being a sort of a bully. So it first thing is, again, I would say, bring the change in you, what the change you want to see. As Mahatma Gandhi said, be the change, what the change you want to see. So if you don't see bully, or if you see bully happening anywhere, then you raise your voice, call it out. And again, when your children will say that my parent raised the hand, stood, call it out against bullying, and I also need to do, because this is the right way to do. If you don't bully based on various factor, it is very unlikely your child will not bully to anyone. Unfortunately, bullying is happening in various level, or various reasons, based on, particularly when I come to our subcontinent cultural perspective. Bullying can be because of your color, your race, your religion, the accent,
The food you eat.
the food you eat, the smell of the food, your hair, how black, how dark, how long it is, your attire, the clothes. So children are getting bullied in school because they take Indian curries and Indian parathas. When they open their lunch box, the whole smell goes to the class and they start getting bullied. Or you are eating a stinky food. They in school there is a various group has been made, as far as my best knowledge, which I learned from children. There is a curry group, there is a
What?
noodle group.
Wow.
This is my knowledge, which I learned from these children when I see in my clinic. So they've been called as these are curry people, this is a noodle people, and I don't need to tell who they are. You know that correctly. So this is how the discrimination and bullying starts. I would say the when the bullying happen on a first time, that is the best time to raise your
To
voice,
stop it. Yep.
to stop it. And in making our children aware of that every school has a no bullying policy, and every school should take it very seriously, and your children should raise that concerns, but they will raise only concerns when they understand what bullying is, and this is our responsibility to explain them. If somebody is making a racial comment on you based on your look, accent, color, your clothes, your food, your hair, and that if it is happening persistently and consistently on that is a bullying. Person is isolating you because of this reason. There's a 10 people of different ethnicity, you are the only one of different ethnicity, and they are isolating you. You're feeling left out in a group of 10 because of your color. That is bullying. So teaching them in this way is important. You don't go to church, you don't go to, you go to different religious place, and you've been bullying for this reason. That is of course, or you've been targeted for this reason. You've been name calling for different reasons because your name is different. People call you differently, and the name calling happen. So it is our responsibility to explain our children what is bullying, and so that they can raise their concerns. For that, other important thing, as I said, every child is not that confident to raise that concerns. So as a parent, our responsibility is to have a good cordial relationship with the child and be in contact with the child every day and asking, not in a direct as an interrogative way, what happened in a school today? Tell me the whole story. He's not going to tell you even a single word I can tell you if we ask him this way. Be part of the child life and be friendly, use coming to their level, coming using their language, using the same slang what they use, particularly the teenager, then asking about what's going on in life indirectly, who you're hanging around with, what you having fun in life, are you having fun in school, what did you do in your school, in sports activity, how was the PE sessions going on. So all that things in a friendly way when you are sitting in a dining table when everybody is sitting, or when you're driving your child to the school, or picking on the child in the school and having a fun activity. That's the best time to ask about these things. And then you take, if you feel like this is happening and your a child behavior is changing, as a parent you need to raise your antenna that there's something is going wrong here, and is it a bullying or something else, where you need to intervene and start investigating. And if there's a need of medical help and or counselor help from the school, then take the help early rather than late.
Thank you. Now we go to the most difficult part, secondary school, because children stop talking when they go to secondary school, touching teens, uh, and then they are too cool. So this is it, from primary school where everybody, you spend 6 years of your life, to secondary school, and some parents may need to move, some children change schools, and it's a scary option. So leaving known friends behind, what can we tell our children?
Look, high school, the middle school, they are,
Most difficult.
it's
I
a
have been
difficult,
there. Yep,
it's a
my
difficult
girls.
path. And my daughter has gone to year 7 this year. So it's a very practical experience I will share.
Yes,
But before going to the practical experience, like understanding of, for parents is important. What is the difference between primary school and the middle school or high school, which is, or secondary school, whatever you can call, from year 6 to year 7.
yep,
Up to year 6, it's a teaching which is what we call as a spoon feeding teaching, which is a child based learning. From year 6 onward, it's become a adult learning. That means I'll come in a primary school, I will come and teach you. If you don't learn, I'll teach you again. If you don't learn, I'll pass this information to your parents and they will work on you to teach you further. And I'll next day I'll ask you again, and next week I'll ask you again. So that you learn these things again and again. In a high school, middle school, teaching is I'll come and teach you once. If you learn, it's up to you. If you don't learn, it's up to you. I'm not going to ask you again. And I'm not going to pass this information to your parents also. I will give the result at the term 1 later on. And that become too late. Second change is in primary school, there's a one teacher
yes.
who is looking after you from morning till evening, every day for whole year. So that teacher knows your
Everything
weaknesses,
about you and
your
strengths. Yeah.
strengths, and work on your strengths to strengthen it further, and also work on your weaknesses to make it strength. Whether you're emotional, whether you are angry child, whether you are shy child, whether you're anxious child, that teacher knows. Now in a middle school, there are many teachers. Each teacher will come and teach you for 1 hour and go to back to the office, and he does not know about your personal characteristics, your nature, your strength, your weakness. He will teach every child in a similar way, whether you are a very bright child who can grasp it in one way, or whether you are a very weak child who need a little bit of a strength, little bit of a strengthening on top of that, little bit of extra aid need. He will not do anything extra because he's not that way trained, first thing, and this is not, you can say, his job. He will come for 1 hour and go. Number two, number three, there's a more homework in high school because the subjects have become more now. The number of subjects are more. There was in primary school is a reading, writing, maths,
And
physical
maths.
activity. Sorry,
No, reading, writing, arithmetic. Yes, the
yeah,
3 hours.
yeah. But in high school, each subject, different subject you had to go through, and that become quite difficult for these children to deal with. In primary school, it's a parent responsibility. The child goes on time, leave on time, because it's only one class. Here is a different classes where the child need to go class A for one lecture, class B for another lecture, class C for another lecture, class D for another lecture. So they need to learn how to organize their time
Yep.
and reach on time to each classes. This can be a little bit overwhelming, and the children, those who need extra support to organize their things. So that be different. In primary school, there's a one teacher who's teaching you, is a one teaching style. So you will get used to that teaching style. But here you have a 5 or 6 teacher, and every teacher has a different teaching style. Some will be very cordial to you, some will be very rigid to you, some will explain you much in detail, some will anticipate that this one you should know in advance before I teach you. So you get confused between the different teaching styles here. That's why, so this secondary school, before going, as a parent, it is our responsibility to make lot of changes before, in fact, I would say 6 to 12 months or 1 year in our child. Teaching the child the organization, time management, independence in child. Like if in a primary school, generally parents go and wake the child. Come on, it's wake up. It okay, do brush. Okay, do shower. Change your clothes. I make the breakfast ready for you. Come down. So you may be, waking up to breakfast ready. It may take 1.5 hour, and then you're spending 10 times you're giving a reminder. But in a high school, we expect the child. If you start preparing the child, you put your alarm now on. You have to wake up yourself. This is the time for you to get ready. Organize your clothes, your shoes, your school bags the night before so you're not struggling in the morning. You have to start learning to make your breakfast yourself and your lunch yourself. Put it on the back yourself so you know where it is kept. Take your water bottle yourself. And that is the preparation there. So that is learning independence. So they learn, replicate the same thing in the school. When they go to the school, they can replicate the things. All right, it's my recess time, it's my lunch time, it's my class one, class two, class three. I have to travel from okay, from here to here will take me 5 minutes to reach. So I will not spend my time away. I need to reach on time everywhere. What books I have to take, what notebooks I have to take to this class versus this class, because everything is in their locker. So they need to go take out from the locker, go to class A, class B, class C. If they are going, normally in primary school, usually we drop children to school.
In
In
secondary
secondary
school.
school,
Yeah.
we expect children to either take a public transport or the school bus if there's a school bus. So they need to
Yep.
learn how to catch this bus, reach on time for the bus spot, and so they're not missing the. bus, and the public transport if they're carrying, then how they're coming back, what is the time. So these are the very important basic thing I'm talking about. It is a parent also responsibility to learn about what extra this school is providing, what are the sports facility this school has, what are the music facility which school has. Work with your child, and what is your child's interest, where you can enroll your child there. What are the leadership opportunity this school has? Is there any camping opportunity? Is there any debating opportunity? Is there any class captain opportunity? Is there any extra connections with UN youth, fellowship program they have? Like my daughter has gone to, East Timor, to Poland, through I'm talking about my elder daughter. So you go to so many
Yep.
places, and that leadership opportunity come from the school. Enrolling on these programs, and that encourage your child, and it sort of keep their skill, their interest alive in going to school, rather than causing anxiety. Everything they are having something new, entertaining. And lastly, I would say having a good communications with children. Again, asking your child whenever coming back home. Again, not always direct interrogative questions, being part of their life, asking these questions, more open-ended questions, being part of their life, asking about their life is going on, so they can open the things. Try to understand the few a, a red flags of bullying, anxiety, nervousness, what they can have. And which I like to mention, if the child is unusually quiet, getting unusually angry, aggressive, meltdown at home, without any reason, giving a not wanting to go to school, missing school because of giving different, sort of a reason every day. Child is not able to sleep well. Child is not eating well, who was sleeping and eating well earlier before. Having an unnecessary, too many different symptoms which does not fit with any diagnosis. Today will say, oh, I got a headache. Tomorrow will say, I got a chest pain. I got a tummy pain. I got a, some excuses which is keep on changing. Then you need to think about there's something else going on where we need a medical help. So having a pediatrician consultation at that time is not a bad idea. It may be end of the day nothing, but that consultation would give you reassurance, that give your child reassurance that everything is going okay. You're not missing out anything.
Before we finish, I want to ask one important question, because I know with secondary school is also teenage years. How do you get them to talk to you? Because the minute they go to year 8, all conversations stop, and then year 10, 11 anyway. And especially with boys, girls, I mean, like you, I have 2 girls, they always talk. I mean, what is happening, what not. Boys don't talk. And
Yeah.
what we don't realize is boys get bullied the most. We have to be careful of the company they keep, because this is a starting of adulthood.
Look, you're right. I would say boys and girls both are, in teenage are very difficult to talk. And the first thing always, what you need to understand as a parent, or as a pediatrician, as a doctor, need to maintain your calm. If the child is not talking, first thing, you don't give up and you don't get frustrated. The time you get frustrated, the time you raise your volume, the time you get angry and upset, child is going to shut down further, and they're never going to open to you. So you cannot make the child open up by screaming, loud talking, or say, why don't you open? Why can't you trust on me? No, this is not going to happen. If you have never spoken to your child for 1 year or 2 years, and suddenly you ask your child, oh, what's going on with you? You're not eating nowadays, you're not sleeping nowadays, what happened? It's never going to happen. Within
Yeah.
one day, it's going to open to you. And that's always I say. So being part of the child's life, and only then child will be part of your life. The teenager would be part of your life if you become part of the teenager's life. If you left the child in a digital world from the very beginning, then it is difficult to that he will come from the virtual world back to your life. While talking to child, particularly the teenager, as I mentioned, said, you need to come to their level. You need to understand what social world is. You need to have some knowledge of Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat. How does it work and what sort of a content and having on this? And what could be good and bad can go on these social platforms. So unless until we have that knowledge, we cannot ask about what's going on in the social world. What are the slangs used in teenage language, in a day-to-day conversation, in a social media when they write messages, these slangs. If we know that, only then we can ask them. We can read these messages in between the line and say, wow, there's something is really going something here, not right. I need to ask my child what's going on. Then you can ask. So be part of your life. Come to their level. Have fun with them. Jokes with them. Open to them about every aspect of life. Do talk about their boyfriend or girlfriend. Do talk about alcohol. Talk about smoking. Talk about vaping. Talk about about the sex also. Talk
Which we
about
never do. Yep.
that's the thing. If you don't talk about how do you expect a 18-year or 17-year-old girl is going to talk about her boyfriend to you, or 18-year-old boy will talk about the girlfriend to you? No, unless until we take the first step and open and say, do you have any boyfriend or do you have any girlfriend? Or if you don't have, I think it's a time for you to have, so that you can learn about opposite sex also.
Yep.
It's not that always you need to have a sexual relationship with a boyfriend or girlfriend. It's more important learning about the whole process. And at the end of the day, anyway, they are going to have a partner in their life.
Of course.
So why don't we prepare them in early stages?
Thank you. Thank you very much, Raj. This has been really inspirational. I will see you next month. Thank you
Thank you
for
very
your
much.
time. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you
Good
very
night,
much.
everyone.
Thank
Good
you.
night, everyone.
Everyone.
Stay well, stay safe. Okay, bye.